In 1977, researchers put untrained athletes through 4 hours of weekly training at maximal effort. VO2 max increased 44%. Endurance time doubled, but it nearly broke them. Look, some cyclists love 10 to 12-hour weeks, and that is great for them. But if you're working full-time with family commitments, time is your greatest limit. This video shows you how science solves the efficiency gap, turning 4 hours into fitness gains when 4 is all you've got. The key is understanding what the 1977 researchers never measured. Even elite riders spend far less time at high intensity than most people think. The difference is that they have the time to support the volume that supports it. And if you don't, if you've got 4 hours a week, you can still do a lot. Your time is limited, but your potential isn't. The goal isn't to grind harder, it's to train smarter. That's where adaptive interval training comes in. It's not just about doing intervals, it's about knowing when to do them, how often, and how to adjust based on how your body responds. The intervals aren't new. The structure is. I'll show you the 4 workouts that make this all work. Session 1 is about building the aerobic engine, raising your VO2 max and improving how long you can hold high power. You only need around 45 minutes to make it count. The core of this session, it's a 4x8 minute interval at 105 to 110 of threshold, with 2 minutes easy in between. This is a proven format. It's the kind of work that takes you right to the edge of your aerobic capacity. The next part isn't in the textbooks, but it's what makes this session smarter than almost any 4x8 you've done before. The 4th interval is what I call the adaptive interval, built on a principle from strength training called auto-regulation. Instead of stopping at exactly 8 minutes, you hold the same power and you keep going until your form breaks, or your power fades, or you just can't hold it any longer. Some days you'll hit 8 minutes exactly, other days you'll push longer, and that becomes your benchmark. You're still following a proven VO2 max structure, but you're adjusting the total load based on what your body can handle today. And that's how you build not just power, but awareness, which is the foundation of smart progression. So what exactly did the 1977 protocol look like? Well, it was 6 days a week, alternating hard runs and VO2 max intervals on the bike. Everything was performed at maximal effort, no pacing, no periodization. The researchers described the participants as barely surviving. When asked if they'd keep training after the study, almost all of them said no. Not because it didn't work, it clearly did, but because it wasn't sustainable. They pushed to the edge, they held it for 10 weeks, and then they walked away exhausted. And that's the core problem with most minimalist training. It can produce short-term gains, but it often collapses under its own intensity. If we want something that works for real people long-term, the structure has to evolve. That study worked, but only because the participants knew there was an end date. Most of them wanted to quit weeks earlier. That's not a training plan, that is a countdown out of training hell. And it's the same problem that many cyclists run into today. They can push hard for a few weeks, but it doesn't last, and improving is easy because you can force it with enough intensity. Sticking with it though, work, life, fatigue, that is the real hard part here. That's what this 4-hour approach is designed for. Not just to help you make progress, but to help you keep showing up. Session 2 is about building the engine from underneath, what coaches call raising the floor. You're training the system that decides how long you can stay strong before things really start to unravel. This session, 10 minutes warm up, and then 2 by 20 minutes at 80 to 80%, 5 minutes easy between, and then 5 minutes cool down. This is tempo, firm, steady, sub-threshold work. It sits in what physiologists call heavy intensity domain, below the red line, but high enough to force adaptation. What's actually happening here? Well, you're increasing mitochondrial density, you're improving capillarization, and upregulating lactate transponders like MCT1, which help clear and reuse lactate as fuel. In plain terms, you're teaching your muscles to stay aerobic deeper into fatigue. Your heart rate should climb slowly and then settle. If it keeps drifting upward, you've pushed too hard. You've stepped out of the zone and you've changed what you're actually training. The goal is steady internal load, not chasing watts. Progression here isn't about more power, it's about more time in control. Some days, that means extending the block, and other days it's keeping your heart rate rock steady right until the end. Tempo doesn't feel heroic while you're doing it, although it's pretty fun. It mostly is just quietly raising everything that you can do above it. If sessions 1 and 2 are where you stress the system, session 3 is where you get stronger. The structure is simple. 45 minutes of low intensity riding. Keep it conversational, keep heart rate under 70% of max. That's no target power, no intervals, no chasing segments. It's not empty recovery, it's active adaptation. These sessions between hard efforts not only support recovery, but also contribute to mitochondrial development and to endurance capacity as a whole. It might feel easy, but it's far from wasted time. This is also the perfect day to focus on details, work on posture, smooth out your pedal stroke. Adaptation doesn't happen during the intervals, it happens in response to them. So how well you absorb training depends on how well you actually recover. If the other sessions build power and efficiency, this one builds resilience. The ability to stay strong when you're already tired. Start with 60 minutes at an easy aerobic pace, around 65 to 70%. And this should feel steady, almost boring. But in the last 30 minutes, add some pressure. You can do 4x5 minutes at 90 to 95%, or one sustained 8 to 10 minute effort just under threshold. This final push happens after the engine is already tired. Glycogen is low, your legs are heavy, and just like session 1, you can treat that final block as adaptive. If you've got more to give, just keep going. If you're hanging on, hold the line. This isn't about crushing yourself. It's about learning to perform in fatigue the same way you have to in a race or in a long climb. Feel well before and during this ride, stay focused, and you will finish strong. 2 hard sessions to drive adaptation, 1 easy session to absorb it, 1 long session to build durability. If you've made it this far, you already know more than most riders about how to train smarter, not harder. You've seen how to build power, endurance, and resilience all in just 4 hours a week. And if you want help applying this to your own training, we coach riders on exactly this system, 4 hours a week built around your life. So check the link below to get started. But in this next video, I'll show you how to progress beyond the 4-hour framework, how to increase volume without losing control, and how to turn smart training into long-term momentum.